Are you tired of all the old games we keep playing? All the corruption and crime in our system? The endless fighting and bickering with our politicians? While nothing really gets done and everything seems to just get worse? Welcome everybody, I'm your host, Steve Saylor, and thanks for dropping by to play Designing the Future, the new home version of the game that's sweeping the nation, and I mean really sweeping because it is one big old mess we've made for ourselves. Okay, we're just going to stop this for a second. I know this seems kind of silly. Let me just quickly tell you why I'm doing this. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I'm trying to explain this to a couple of my friends. The Zeitgeist movement, an organization that's trying to spread the ideas of Jacques Fresco, Roxanne Meadows. They have a site called the Venus Project where they lay out in detail a different type of social and economic system. It's called the resource-based economy as opposed to the monetary-based economy. And it might be able to solve a lot of these big problems we're facing right now. Anyway, I'm trying to explain this to my friends, which is hard to do in just a minute or two because there are some points along the way that require a little elaboration. So when they started asking me things like, what color robes will we be wearing in the cult? I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll make a couple videos and explain this as quickly as I can, and you can watch those. And they said, well, okay, but it's not going to be boring, is it? Because our attention spans aren't what they used to be. I said, you babies, you big babies, what do I have to do, make a game out of this? And they said, yeah, oh, that'd be good. We like games. And that's why I got this version of the new home game and why we are about to play Designing the Future. And it's going to be fun, I hope, so I can keep my friends awake. So we've got a board here and dice and money. Yeah, this will be kind of like playing a game of Monopoly, only just the opposite. You'll see. Now, I'm not going to read all the rules here, just the first part where it says, you have the tools at hand to design a new social system that could solve the biggest problems that we've created in our current system, such as, and it lists 5 of them. Number 1, the financial fiasco, all this debt that's beyond comprehension, the bankers going belly up and convincing the government to bail them out. Yeah, and then they turn around and give themselves $1 million bonuses. And what are they doing for society? What are they making? Nothing. They don't make anything, just moving numbers around and manipulating the game, just gambling, basically, that's all. Yeah, let's fix this, huh? Number 2 is politicians and the government. What if we told you that we could get rid of all the politicians? No, we don't mean kill them. We just mean design a system without the need for politicians or government as we know it today. Yeah, well, it does seem to be dreadfully dysfunctional, doesn't it? It doesn't work anymore, and when they do get around to passing some legislation, it just tilts the playing field a little further to the advantage of the special interests who lobby our Congress. Yeah, let's get rid of them. Okay, number 3, taxes. Get rid of them. All of them? Yeah. Yes, all of them. Hey, I think I can hear the kettle whistling. The tea party is getting hot. All of us, really, when you think of where our money goes or doesn't go, and there's so much waste in the system. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Number 4, get rid of corruption and crime. All of it? No, not all of it. What do you think this is, a utopia? It's not. Just 95% of it. Oh, okay, well, that's good for starters. Yeah, that works for me. And the last one, the environment. Oh, here's where we may run into trouble because we'll get the arguments about global warming. Oh, wait. It says we're not talking about climate change or global warming. Oh. We just mean not using our planet for a dumpster. Yeah, but what do we always hear? What's the choice we're facing? We'd like to do what's best for the environment, but then we might lose jobs, and it would hurt the economy. Oh man, I'm a little tired of that trade-off. You too? Well, let's go ahead and solve these problems. Yeah, it should be easy. But there's one more thing it says before we start. It says, the first part of the game involves taking a good look at our current system, trying to see the root cause of those problems, and this can result in various degrees of aggravation and nausea. But then the rest of the game is about designing a system that gets rid of the problems, and that's when the fun begins. Oh, good. We are going to have some fun. We just have to get through this first part. Okay, you want to go first? You're going first. Hey, sex. And let's see this. I'm going to have to roll for you and answer the questions because you're not here, but that's okay. This is just a practice round. So we're drawing from the pile that is called Sense or Senseless. And it says, explain the history of money. For $100, and this is to get rid of $100. See, that's why it's the opposite of Monopoly.
Oh.
You'll have 60 seconds. Oh, we have a time limit. That makes it more exciting. To explain the history of money without going crazy. That's the hard part. It's definitely senseless, yeah. Okay, I'll do my best for you. Now we just hit the timer, and that sound comes out of somewhere, and we haven't always had money, you know that, right? We used to wander around in tribes, I'll hunt, you gather, and we could gather enough to survive. And then we gained more control over the land, agriculture, and we could produce an abundance of a crop that other people don't have and they want it. So we needed something to represent the value of stuff. And we've always been fascinated by shiny objects, gold and silver. Yeah, that's good. Then we can make them into coins, and our technology evolves. And we can make machines that can print on paper. And somebody says, hey, carrying around all this gold is a hassle. I've got a safe place in back where I can keep the gold, and I can print some nice paper with numbers on them to represent the shiny stuff, which represents all the other stuff. And this works, people like it. Then the guy starts thinking, I bet I could print twice as much of the paper than I have of the gold. And I could loan out that half and get paid back with a little extra, and the wonderful world of banking is born. And pretty soon they're making 4 or 5 times as much paper than the gold. They don't even try to hide it. A few people are asking, what's this paper really worth? Don't ask questions. It's good for the economy. Here, take some more. Shut up. Go shopping. And then the bankers say, you're trying to keep track of all this paper money in relation to the gold. It's insane. Let's get rid of the gold. But then what are we going to use to represent the value of everything? Bigger paper, fancier, yeah. Give it a cool name like bond, treasury bond. Yeah. Okay, time's up. Okay, I think I did a pretty good job of it, and the judges agreed that's good enough for you to get rid of $100. And I didn't go crazy. I was becoming slightly agitated, but who wouldn't? Trying to make sense of that, they're just making up the money out of nowhere. And that fractional reserve scam where they make 4 or 5 times as much paper than the gold, well, now it's up to 10 times as much. And there ain't no gold. Yeah, go figure. Think about that for a second. If you or I want to get a loan for a house and let's say $100,000, they just type those numbers into the computer and presto, sign here. And that's how money gets created now. When people agree to go into debt, then they're holding our debt in their reserve. And that 100,000 number, they type in the computer 10 times as much. They can say they have $1 million now. And if you can't make those payments, they'll take your house or your car or whatever the loan's for, and all they did was type it. And of course, with interest, you're going to end up paying them $300,000 when it's finally paid off. And in the first few years, almost all of your payments will be going toward the interest. But then you say, hey, I'm still a little upset about this whole interest thing, but why am I paying most of that in the first years? And they say, well, that's because if something should happen to you in the near future, God forbid, we want to make sure we've been able to suck you dry before that happens. Now move along. Don't ask questions. Go shopping. Okay, cool down, relax. You got to try to laugh about this so you don't begin weeping uncontrollably. There are other videos that explain this better than I can. I'll provide some links in the description, and you really should watch them just to see if I'm telling the truth. If it can really be this senseless. All right, I am rolling. This is a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is from the quickie pile. Yes, simple yes or no question. Every country in the world uses some form of money exchange. Socialists, communists, capitalists, they all have a monetary system. Some try to regulate it more than others to keep the playing field level. Okay, yes or no, to get rid of $200, is it possible to have an honest, ethical government in a monetary system? Maybe, could be, no. That's right. I'll get rid of 200 here. That was an easy one, really. You just have to look around and you can see, as long as money can be used to influence the decisions of people in that government, you're never going to have an honest government. We have to understand, though, that it's not these politicians or that group of people that's responsible for that. It's inherent in a monetary system. This is just what happens. The corruption and the crime, it's part of the package. Not just in government, but across the board in our society, when you're doing business, making a living. Are the people you're dealing with going to be honest and ethical when they have to make that sale to keep that job? Yeah, we try to teach our kids to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Then we turn them loose in a system that says, do unto others before they do it to you. Do whatever it takes to make those profits. Can't trust anybody. Wouldn't it be great if we taught them do unto others and then raised them into a society that actually lives like that? Wouldn't it be great if we could practice what we preach? Oh, what a concept. If we lived in a system that allowed us to do that, yeah. So let's keep that in mind, shall we? When we begin to design our new system, maybe we can pull that off. Or we can try. Okay, it's your turn to roll. And let's see what you're going to do. 3. And this is from the WTF pile. A 2-part question about the Federal Reserve. You know the Fed prints all our money and tries to regulate it so the boom and bust cycles don't get out of control. Anyway, for $100, another yes or no, 5 seconds. Is the Federal Reserve a part of our government? No. No, it's not. Lots of people think it is. I used to, because it has the word federal in there. But so does the Federal Bar and Grill and the Federal Garbage Disposal Company. Little deceptions in the money game that we've gotten used to, like $9.95. Oh, it's not $10? No, it's $9.95. Oh, okay, well, that's better, yeah. The Federal Reserve, that's just an independent bank or a private corporation. So why do we have a private bank making our money and charging us interest? Shouldn't our government be doing that? Oh, yeah, it should, and we've tried all the way back to our founding fathers who were saying, we need to be in control of our own money. We can't let these central banks get in there like they've been doing to these countries all over Europe. That's one of the big reasons we left. Oh, but they got in there. We wouldn't have this astronomical debt if our government was making the money, which they could do and should do. All right, part 2 of this question, hey, you got rid of $100 there. How does a private bank gain control of a country's money supply? I'm answering for you, and I think I know this. I know how they did it last time in 1913 and all the other times too, probably. They found out which politicians were the key players in getting their legislation passed, and they said, let's take them out to dinner. Best restaurant, food, and wine, and they said, hey, we've heard what some people are saying, this may not be in the country's best interest, but they don't understand. Look, you've got enough to deal with right now. You don't want to get involved with this money game. We know how to do this. Yeah, it's what we do. So we'll make the money, we'll give it to you. You can pay us back with a little interest. Yeah, that's the way it works.
Oh.
Here, let me fill your glass. There we go.
Oh.
We're thinking of changing the name from Central Bank. Get bank out of there. Central Reserve, maybe, or Federal Reserve. Yeah, that could be just misleading enough to get you off the hook. So we'll handle everything. You won't even have to look at our books or worry about regulating anything. By the way, that word regulate, how much to get that word out of your vocabulary? More? Regulate, regulation, regulatory, any form of the word. No. More? Sure, we're going to print some more tomorrow. Reelected? Of course we'll make sure you get reelected. Don't worry about that. Hey, do you have a date tonight for the party? Because we can set you up with... Yeah. And that's how they did it. Pretty much the same way it's done today. No, exactly the same way it's done today. All right, anyway, you got rid of another $200. You're doing pretty good. Yep, that's how we got a private bank in charge of our money game. And are we indebted to them? Oh, how we are in debt to them. You know, I think most of the money we pay in taxes goes to pay off our interest on the national debt to the people who just turn on the money machine and push print. Yeah, I think so. We better check on that. Anyway, there's another example. We can't have an honest, ethical government as long as money can be used to influence the decisions. And it's sad, isn't it? I know we should be saying, hey, wait a minute, but it's easier just to say, what time's the game on? Or do we have enough beer? I understand. I know it's just easier. Okay, I'm rolling a 2.